The Hub is brought to you by Docomo Pacific Business and Leo Palace Resort, Guam.
Hafaday, welcome to another episode of The Hub, and who better to talk to us now 40 days away from the general election, Super Tuesday, than the Guam Election Commission's Executive Director herself, Maria Pangilinan. Hafaday, Maria.
Hafaday, Nick Delgado. Sidus Masi for having me here.
Sidus Masi for coming in as well. And so November 5th, that's the date for general election, but before we get there, there's early voting for those that aren't able to make it that Tuesday.
So starting October 14th until October 28th, that's Monday through Saturday, from 10 o'clock to 6 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock. Please come to the Westin Resort, where we held the primary election early voting. We will have the early voting for the general election October 14th to the 28th. We're getting ready. We started talking to Westin already, and we should be up and ready by the 14th. That's a Monday from 10 o'clock to 6 o'clock.
And we'll have those electronic tabulators or electronic machines as well for easy voting.
That's correct. So the express vote machines, they'll be available again at the early vote center. And last primary election, out of all the early voters that came, about 40% used the express votes. So we hope that we increase that number for the general election.
That's good. I know that's going to be a plus too, as well as we're trying to bring in more younger voters, something to make it simple for them to get in and out and get their vote in as well.
Yes. So, even on the last day of early voting for the primary election, there was not a big wait. So we hope the same thing happens. Come early so you don't have to wait. The golf carts will be available to bring you from the parking structure up to the mezzanine section where you can vote. And we will have accessible voting over at the Westin as well.
That's where you can park your car right there as you enter the facility, and someone will be able to come out to the car if you need that assistance.
That's correct. And we highly encourage that people who are persons with disabilities are in the car.
Yeah.
If the person with the disability has a driver or other companions, they too can vote in the parking structure, and somebody from the Guam Election Commission will come out and service them inside the parking structure.
And as with every election, including the early voting portion of it, you do need several things, right, to prepare. You can't just go there already with the vote in mind.
Yes, so please make sure you bring a validly issued ID. That means a government ID or a Guam High School or Guam University or College photo ID. Any validly issued federal or government ID. You can use CNMI driver's license. You can use any state ID as well. And it doesn't have to be current. It could be expired, just so long as what the law says it's validly issued.
Okay. And also coming up ahead of early voting, homebound voting will begin, it looks here, October 7th. That's a Monday, next Monday.
Yes, a couple weeks. So what we do is when early voting is supposed to start, we save the first few days for scheduling. So what we do is, right now we have, I think, 265 applications since the primary election, and then we've picked up a few more since then. So what we do is we schedule them per village first. So the first few days we won't go out, but we will schedule for each village, and then later on we will be going out daily. Sometimes later on we'd visit a village maybe 2 or 3 times during the day.
The earlier the better to pretty much book your appointment, right? And then all you have to do is just call the GEC's offices, the number 671-477-9791 to set that appointment.
That's correct.
District registration, it looks like that also begins the same week of early voting, October 15th.
Yes, so district registration is at the mayor's office and at the Guam Election Commission. You can register as soon as 8 o'clock and up to 8 o'clock, Monday through Friday. No holidays, so I don't think there's any holidays, but Monday through Friday and up to 8 o'clock. And the last day to register is, I think October
22nd.
22nd,
Yes.
October 22nd. And if you haven't registered and you show up at the early vote center up until October 22nd, you can register and vote at the same time.
Okay.
But only up until October 22nd.
Online motor voter registration, that's also happening that same day.
Yes, it stops actually. It stops when district registration starts. So October 15th, I think it stops. So online voter registration and motor voter, online is at gec.guam.gov, and then motor voter is at the Revenue and Tax at driver's license branch, where you come in to renew your driver's license or your Guam ID. You can also register to vote right on the same application as the driver's license and the Guam ID application.
Now, if I didn't make it to vote in the primary election, but I did vote in the previous gubernatorial election, am I qualified to still
Yes.
register?
Yes, your name will only be taken off if you don't vote in 2 sequential general elections. So if you didn't vote in 22 and 20 general election, we will have taken your name off. You can always go to gec.guam.gov and check if your voter registration status.
Okay, well, I want to ask you a little bit more about the absentee ballots and how that works for those of former residents of Guam and how they can get involved and just learn a little bit more about that process. But for now, we'll take a quick break. Keep it here. The Hub continues in a moment.
The Hub is brought to you by Docomo Pacific Business and Leo Palace Resort Guam. The Hub is brought to you by Docomo Pacific Business and Leo Palace Resort Guam.
Welcome back to the Hub. Again, we're here on the couch with GEC's Executive Director, Maria Pangilinan, to talk us through the election process and get us ready for the November 5th general election. Half a day, Maria.
Half a day again, Nick.
So absentee voting. So say I'm new to the game, new to the election process, but I do have some relatives off island, recently relocated, and they want to know more about how they can still make sure that their vote counts. How does it work?
Get on our website, gec.guam.gov. Over there's an absentee voting tab. Go to that one, fill out the application form, make sure it's completely filled out with the address you want us to send your ballot to, and email it back to us, a completed form with your ID. You email that back to us, we should reply to you within 24 hours and send you the ballot. Now, absentee ballots have to be mailed back to us. So it has to come back via mail. It cannot come back to us electronically. We can send it to them electronically, where we will have what we call an electronic ballot template, and we have envelope templates as well, so that when we send it to them, if they prefer an e-ballot, we will send them an email with the templates for the electronic ballot and envelopes. And there are 3 envelopes. There's a ballot envelope, an affidavit envelope, and a courier envelope. The courier envelope, the ballot envelope gets sealed into the affidavit envelope, and then the affidavit envelope gets sealed in the courier envelope, which is what the post office will see.
Wow, and then are there deadlines when they must return that?
Yes, so the ballots must be postmarked November 5th, and they have 10 work days to send it to us, for us to receive it. We have a special group of voters. They're called UOCAVA voters, Uniform and Overseas Citizens Voting Act, I think, yes. So for our military voters that are stationed outside of Guam, for our Guam residents or former Guam residents or any U.S. citizen that is in a foreign country where Guam was their last U.S. residence, those voters, by law, we have to send their ballots out 45 days before the election, and that was on Friday. The requests that came in by Friday, we should have sent it out by Friday. So those were sent out. we can still receive requests for off-island ballots up until 3 days before the election.
Oh,
Yes.
that's
so,
pretty tight. That's a
yes.
tight window.
So most of those that request later request for an e-ballot. So we can send it to them almost immediately, but they still have to return it to us via U.S. Post Office or any kind of hard mail courier. Also, other than the UOCAVA, other than the military and the overseas citizens, the other off-island residents, like those that have left for medical in America or are students, they need to get their affidavit notarized. And that process is a little bit tricky, but not so, where they have to vote in front of a notary or the registrar of a university, but they cannot show who they voted for. So we've had, people call us about that process, and for years now it's been happening. So we sent out about over 160 ballots last Friday.
Okay. Does that number typically grow between that deadline all the way up to the 3-day mark
Yes,
before
it
election?
does. Yes, so we anticipate it to grow, but the numbers have been low for both the primary compared to other primaries. We hope that the general election numbers grow.
What is the eligibility if I'm a former Guam resident in order to submit an absentee ballot?
The biggest requirement is that you're not registered anywhere else.
Okay.
Yes, and so you were a resident of Guam, or you continue to be a resident of Guam, and you want to return. You're going to return.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I've been gone for 2 consecutive elections and I've registered elsewhere, that means I'm ineligible.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. The Guam law and the federal law says you cannot register in 2 jurisdictions.
All right. Any other advice you can give with regard to absentee voting?
Make sure you request as early as you can. Yes, and our sample ballots, visit our website. The sample ballots and who you're going to vote for are all in there.
Yeah. And you can go right now to the KUAM Facebook page where we took the sample ballot candidates and have our own poll live right now for you to just get an early start to the election process as well. We're going to take another break and continue the chat here with Maria Pangilinan with the Guam Election Commission. Keep it here. You're watching The Hub.
The Hub is brought to you by Docomo Pacific Business and Leo Palace Resort Guam. The Hub is brought to you by Docomo Pacific Business and Leo Palace Resort Guam.
Hafide, welcome back to The Hub. Here on the couch with Maria Pangilinan, the Guam Election Commission Executive Director. Hafide, Maria. So there are a couple of election administration courses as well that you're offering as a professor at the University of Guam. Some important things that the public can get involved with, as long as maybe even receive a stipend for their involvement with the election, right? Once they go through it.
Absolutely. So the Guam Election Commission received a competitive grant from the U.S. Election Assistance Commission. And our project was to do a university upper division level course at University of Guam and offer it for credit. And the mission of the grant was to recruit precinct officials. So we started the course September 7th. Oh, by the way, kudos to the University of Guam Public Administration Division through Dr. Ron McNinch and Dr. Judy Guthards. They helped us get the course approved so that it is now part of the curriculum for public administration, where it's a regular course that will be taught every even year, every time there's an election. And it's called Public Administration 308, number 308, and it's an upper division course, and it's called Election Administration. Well, for this term, we're offering it as PA 308 and PD, Professional Development 894, Special Studies, Elections Administration. So we have about a dozen teachers who are taking it, who will be precinct officials.
Nice.
And then we have about a little over 32 or 35 students Some I think a couple of them are from Guam Community College, and the rest are from University of Guam.
Any of them have experience with working the elections?
You know, I think yes. There were 2 teachers that said they worked many years ago. Maybe 3.
Yeah.
3 teachers that said they worked many years ago. 1 very recently, and so yes, they're looking forward to the $500 stipend. They still get the stipend, and also they get the 3 credits, which the grant will pay for, and the course, because it's 3 credits for both courses, it requires 45 contact hours.
Okay.
So the 18 contact hours is the day of the election where they work the precinct, where they work as precinct officials. So we will continue to meet until October 12th, and then November 5th we'll swear them in on October 12th, and then we'll swear them in, and then they go to the polling sites come November 5th.
That's a good incentive as well to get more hands-on experience and get that help needed every time this when election year comes around. And you were saying that there's at least 3 of them that have prior experiences, so
That's
at least
correct.
they can share that experience with the rest of the class and those
Yes.
taking the course.
So they have to come to the course, right? It's every Saturday, but they also have to attend training at the Guam Election Commission, because in the specific precinct official training there, ballots are counted for that specific precinct, and they get to meet who they're going to work with.
Okay.
So yes, so they take a break whenever their village training is on at the Guam Election Commission.
We're talking about a couple of the election administration's courses, PA 308 and PD 895 over at the University of Guam, taught by the woman herself, Professor Maria Pangilinan, the GEC Executive Director. This course, they say here, will examine and provide real-world experience in the conduct of elections on Guam with the Election Code of Guam, Title III, Guam Code Annotated, the Election Manual, and the Precinct Official Handbook. And again, that $500 stipend, you never can go wrong with that.
And we do pay for the tuition.
Yeah.
The grant will pay for the tuition.
Is this the first, and it's the first year?
This is the college worker program grant has not been offered, except this is the first year it's been offered after. It's been a while since it
Yeah.
was offered, and it was competitive. So we were very lucky to get it. Thank you.
And you said it's every other year. Was the grant able to cover
It's
a
only
certain
for
period?
1 year.
Okay.
So it's only for this year. Hopefully, you know, if we report lots of successes, and it seems to be a success with it going, and if they all show up as precinct officials, I really want to report it, and maybe we'll
Yeah.
get lucky again one more time.
I mean, it's only been like the first week, right? And so,
A couple weeks already, 3 weeks already.
how's
I
the
think.
response been?
Very nice. They're engaged. The students are engaged, and they're looking forward to they're looking forward to working it.
I like also that you have more minds now involved in like the election process, how to get the word out about their vote and get them involved in that, because low voter turnout, that continues to be a struggle, and as the years go on, it's just a challenge.
With University of Guam and Guam Community College students in this class, we hope to increase that demographics in our voter participation, a day.
Yeah. Anything else that the community needs to know with regard to this this course? It's already ongoing, so
Yeah.
the windows are already closed for anyone that was
That's
interested in
correct,
it,
yeah.
participating this fall semester. But hopefully we get the grant again. Anything else that
Yes.
the community needs to know with how this benefits us?
So we hope that the students from this class come back again, so that we have seasoned precinct officials, and that would make it easier, more efficient, and more effective, especially if they come back. So we hope that's the whole goal of the grant, is to get these precinct officials. And you know, the precinct officials, the average age for the precinct officials on Guam is much lower than those in the rest of the U.S. election jurisdictions. Yes, most
Wow.
of them are in their 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Yeah.
And yeah, where we here on Guam, we have them. I think the last time I checked, it was like 34.
Okay.
The average age.
Average.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Busy woman you are this time of year, not just with the elections, but now teaching others to get involved in the process. We'll wrap up the show after one more break. Maria Pangilinan with the GEC joining us here. Keep it here. You're watching The Hub.
The Hub is brought to you by Docomo Pacific Business and Leo Palace Resort Guam. The Hub is brought to you by Docomo Pacific Business and Leo Palace Resort Guam.
Welcome back. You're watching the latest episode of The Hub. Joining me here on the couch is GEC Executive Director Maria Pangilinan. And Maria, we spoke about early voting, absentee voting, the courses that you are providing as the professor at the University of Guam to train the future precinct officials to get involved in the election process. But one thing that we were wondering with regard to the ballot that everyone will be seeing on November 5th, or if they head out to the polls for early voting, is the presidential race. How does that get on our ballot? And let's start with that.
Okay, by the Election Code of Guam, it's been on the books for a long time. The two national parties, they need the candidates from the two national parties get on the website. Get on the ballot. Also, any of the candidates, any of the independent or other than Democrat and Republican Party candidates, anybody can write to us on or before September 1st and let us know that they want to be on the ballot and let us know that they're also registered in another state. That's the requirement of the Election Code of Guam. So there's quite a few on for this.
7.
Yes, 7 here for the 2024 general election. And you know that Guam is where America's Day begins.
Yeah.
So our results will come out first. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that we've always predicted correctly the popular vote.
That's pretty much what this is, because our vote, it doesn't go towards the final count
Right.
For president.
Yeah.
Wow, that's been the trend, huh?
I think so. And so this election cycle, the national news syndicates contacted us to see if we knew who the party leaders are. And so we did send them a note telling them who the party leaders are, and they contact. So there's a little bit more interest in the Guam elections from that side of the world, from the national. In the past, Australia has contacted me.
Yeah.
In the past, immediately after the election, like the morning after the election, and so they contact us and they asked us how the results were. So yes.
It's not a requirement, though, to select any of the candidates under the presidential race.
No, but our directions say choose one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like any part of the ballot, you can choose to vote no one, or you can choose to vote, like for the senators, 15, up to 15. For the congressional delegate, 1. For the Consolidated Commission on Utilities, this time 2 max. And then the Guam Education Board, there's 6 candidates, and you can vote up to 6. So you can vote all of them, you can vote none of them, or anything in between. And then we have judicial retention questions. And that, I think, completes, besides the public auditor. Yes, the public auditor, you vote for 1.
Running unopposed.
And then the mayor and the vice mayor,
Yes.
if there's a vice mayor. So although that completes, I think, our ballot, including the presidential election.
Do you think that on election night, when we tally the votes, that it'll be the mayoral races that'll bring out, not just draw more of the voters to come out from the precincts, but have us there longer waiting for the final vote?
There's not that many contests with regard to the mayors. I think there's more without contests than there are with competition, right? So Hagåtña doesn't have competition.
Most of them were settled at the primary.
At the primary, but they still have to be on the ballot. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So remember, if you see the presidential candidates there on the ballot, it's going to help to predict, as in trends in years past, who just may be our next president of the United States, huh?
We'll see.
And don't forget, this is the sample ballot right now. You can see on gec.guam.gov. We also have all of the information that Maria Pangilinan has shared with us on KUAM.com. And head over to our Facebook page right now, where you can get involved and vote before the early voting begins on the KUAM News general election poll. And on October 7th, join us on KUAM News following primetime for the 2024 congressional debate, where candidates Ginger Cruz and the incumbent Congressman James Moylan will be going head-to-head in a debate. Maria, is there anything else that the viewers and the voters need to know before the race begins?
Please bring your photo ID to early voting October 14th to the 28th, or show up at the 22 polling sites across the island on Tuesday, November 5th from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock. At both places, at all the venues, we will have accessible voting. Call us at 477-9791 to register or to let us know that your loved one or you are at home, you're homebound, and to call us so we can come out and service you. The last day for us to take calls for homebound is 4 o'clock p.m. on election day. So we cannot take calls after that, because depends on the population of our customers, our voters. We don't want to not be able to service anybody. So please call us early.
Okay. And again, early voting begins October 14th and continues through the 28th. It's being held from Monday through Saturday. So you got plenty of time, anytime between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. again between October 14th through the 28th at the Westin Resort Guam. A variety of options for you to get involved, even if you're unable to make it out of your car and into that election center right there. Maria Pangilinan, thank you so much for your time. And if you have any other questions, you can also check them out at their offices in Tamuning. Even ask your village mayor. They have all the information you need to know as well, or go to gec.guam.gov or kuam.com. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of The Hub. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.